Welcome back to Made Up of Wires. You know what we're going to be doing today? I think we're going to decompile Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Not all of it, just a little bit at a time. We'll get there. Pretty soon it'll all be done. If you're not familiar with the Castlevania Symphony of the Night decompilation project, you can go to soten.z.dev to learn more. Lately we've been working on the doppleganger overlay. Just a little bit of work there. Got it originally imported and a little bit more added earlier this week. I've been looking at duplicates because a lot of the doppelganger code is the same as Alucard code, and so I think we're going to continue doing that today. I'm going to refresh the dupes report and see where we're at, if there's anything we can find. So we're going to just kind of work our way down from here and see, maybe set some symbol names and then find functions that are similar but maybe not quite the same, and go from there, see how things are doing. So I'm going to start at the top of this overlay, or sorry, this segment that I had started working on. I just want to make sure that anything that has duplicates up to this point, those have been resolved, and that seems to be the case. So I'm going to go past decelerate X, decelerate Y, and look for check move direction. The major difference between these functions and the Alucard functions has seemed to be related to what entity they're operating on. Obviously, the Alucard entity is going to be different from the doppelganger entity, but for the most part, they have all the same properties. So really, it's just shifting an offset into an entity array to differentiate the two. And so let's see if that is the same here. So check move direction, if we look at the duplicates report, is the same for Alucard, for Richter, and now for doppelganger as well. I think maybe it would be good to import doppelganger 40, and we might end up seeing the same thing. So I'm going to look for check move direction first. And okay, so we did look at this a little bit yesterday. The unknowns that I see here are, what is G player going to be? We already have pad pressed globals that are separate for doppelganger. We should look at this unknown 44 and see what its offset is compared to like unknown 4C and pad pressed. And then we can start telling whether or not these are part of the same structure that Alucard uses, or if they're part of a new structure that we need to create. Sorry, let me show you what I'm looking at. So last time I worked on these without going to decomp.me, just basing these off the assumptions I made. I'm going to start to do that with this one as well. We'll see if we can tell just with local tooling if we can figure out what this is. So we have our BO4 import already. BO4, if you're new to Symphony of the Night, is the stage name for the doppelganger overlay. BO for boss, it's in the boss directory. 4 because I'm guessing chronologically this would be the fourth boss that you fight if you're going in the canonical ordering of the game. So here I'm going to replace player dot with doppelganger dot. We misspell doppelganger as we were talking about yesterday because the game misspells doppelganger. In the .anim file, I've already defined a bunch of globals, pad pressed, pad tapped, pad held. These might be good to move to the BO4 header because now they're being used in a couple different places. I'm going to put them here for now, and we can use these for now and start looking at these G player fields. So there's two things that I'm going to look at. One is what is the relationship in terms of offsets for unknown 44 for G player, which is a player state. So here we have unknown 44, and that is pretty far down from pad pressed. Let's look specifically at how far down. I'm going to take the address of this, and normally I don't show the calculator on screen, but all I'm doing for this is taking this offset for unknown 44, and I'm going to subtract the offset for pad pressed. Oops, and by accidentally pasting it in my editor, which is 7C. So remember 7C. That's the difference between unknown 44 and pad pressed. So now we need to go through and first we need to figure out what symbol is being referenced in check move direction. And I'm going to make a little note here because I know that I'm going to forget numbers. That is not my strong suit. I'm going to open this assembly file, BO4 non-matchings, and we're looking at check move direction. The first global symbol we see should be the one that we're looking for, and we can tell that because the next instruction is and immediate, and what are we anding as our immediate? The value 2, and that's the same as what's doing here. So we need to load the value, the global value, in memory first, and then we can use it. So this would be enough. We could stop here. We could say that this is extern. So extern meaning it's not defined in this compilation unit. The compiler will have to link this in later when it's building the final binary. We're going to use the same type as before, and everywhere we see G player unknown 44, we can replace it with this symbol. We still have one more unknown 4C, and we can do the same thing for that. What's nice is that this was B4, so I'm going to look for DBC, and we do have a DBC. So I'm going to make the assumption here that DBC is unknown 4C. A lot of assumptions. We could go to decomp.me and verify that these are actually the way they are. But this is enough that I would expect this now to compile and match. So minimally we'll compile, maximally we'll match. Let's see how we did. And doppelganger is undeclared. Why is doppelganger undeclared? Because I screwed up something. We'll see what I screwed up. The macro is spelled the wrong way. So I probably should rename the macro instead of oops. I just want to see if that's been checked in. What am I doing here? Nope. Okay. So that, yeah, I think that is what is in master at the moment. Don't want to get too far with the wrong name, so I'll replace my misspelled name with the correct spelling being the wrong spelling for the game. And we'll build, and it does match. So we've learned that code-wise, I cry every time. Dig down deep. Saying he cries every time he sees the misspelled doppelganger. This is going to be a rough overlay for you. Dig down deep. I'll just call him Dop. So we know that the code is the same. We know that the structure is looking very similar. Let's go to the data where this is coming from, which again is a assembly file, FOSS-V04 data. We'll find the label there. It's in BSS. BSS is a little tricky because it's all zeros, and so the only way that we know what this structure is by references in machine code for it. But what do we see? We see a bunch of unsigned 16s. Are they unsigned? We don't know because they're zeros. But that matches pretty well with what we see here. So we down to B4, we have this high jump timer and another one. Those seem to be consolidated in this B0, but they are referenced both as unsigned 16s. If we go up, these are all treated as words, and if data isn't referenced directly or just the first field of a section of data isn't referenced directly, it'll take the type of that and just assume that everything else is related to that. Because it could be an array, it could be something else. And so we don't know necessarily what's happening here. But if we keep going up, eventually we'll get to pad pressed. We can look at some of these, like, well, let's go to pad pressed and pad held. So we have a pad sim that happens afterwards. Is that the same? I don't know. Because it's being treated as 16 bits, 4 16-bit values here, which is a little different. The sun timer lines up. And then we have an array of 16 timers. This doesn't necessarily line up. So it's still, I think the jury's still out on whether or not these are the same. But I'm going to give them symbol names. And the symbol names, I'm going to base off this player state struct. So as my goal here is that as these get closer and closer, the symbol names will just be the underscored version of the final name for these symbols. All right. So I'm going to open the symbol table, config symbols US FOBO4, and start adding these. So these are all going to follow the same convention, G dop underscore. This one's unknown, so it's going to be unknown 44. And the next one's unknown 4C. And then we'll go back here and clean these up as well. Oh, I did want to look. I should have done that. I will change these symbols regardless, but I do want to look to see if these are 7C away from the other symbols. All right, and so I will touch the splat config. Oh, play animation has already been defined. What did I do here? That looks like maybe I missed this during a merge. Yeah, I think that may be what happened. This is the way I like to work on projects is I will have my messy branch that I commit to without much consideration for anything really except for my own sanity. So as I get to things that I think are good checkpoints, I'll commit, giving myself a little note. But nobody else sees that history except for you watching the stream and are probably disgusted at my my Git hygiene. But then I take that and will pull the changes that I want to send back for PR into a separate branch that has a clean history and a nice commit message. But that means that when that PR gets merged into the upstream repo and I rebase, sometimes my rebases don't necessarily match up. So this was a symbol table that was formatted, and then apparently a merge conflict wasn't generated here. So I'm probably gonna have several of these. So let me just see what these are, and I will. So set player anim down to I think this ACF14. Yeah. And the other ones are, oh no, is DOP going to be, those are going to be defined as well. So I need to get rid of all that, and that should be enough. Have I used warp yet? No, I don't know what it is. I usually, yeah. So sometimes I will squash if my own history is clean, then I will squash. Oh, so this is interesting. We have references to these that. Did I accidentally get rid of these? And so sometimes symbols change, and so the underlying assembly that's extracted changes. And so the symbols are wrong. We have object files that get created referencing old symbol names. And so we need to rebuild everything basically to get the new symbol names. And I just do that by touching all the C files and then running make again and hoping that that's going to work. I'm getting undefined references in MAD. Which is completely unrelated to what I'm working on. I seem to have broken something else in the process. Okay. I don't know what happened there with MAD, but that seemed to work. So now we have our symbols here. So like I said, let's go look for, I will refresh this. So we have unknown 44, that's at offset 54 db4. And then I'm going to go up to pad pressed. D38, and what I'm looking for is this going to be 7C? And it is 7C. So it looks like we do have a player state struct, and that's probably going to make the rest of this much easier because we can just define the we can just define a player state object at the appropriate offset. So let's figure out that offset and then add that, and then we can work those back in. Have I used warp dev? No, I'm not familiar with it. Intelligent terminal. So what? So it's. I'm guessing it is an AI. So the AI is watching what you type and then giving you suggestions, which I definitely see value for. Especially when I'm writing Rust and failing dramatically. What I want with all of these tools, and I really, if I was better at like producting, that's a thing, right? That's somebody's job, producting. If I was better at producting, I would start a business to make your local AI Yeah, that is interesting. Maybe I'll take a look at it. So what I don't like about all of the AIs right now, mostly because I'm paranoid. I've been going through this email like spam bomb thing, and it's just like I'm paranoid about everything now, even more so than I was before. But do I really want some company having a history of all the odd things that I'm asking AIs about? And then when that gets leaked to the world, and you see me, I don't know, doing whatever, or I guess everybody's embarrassing AI questions would be leaked to the world, so we could all be embarrassed together. But when that happens, then what? I don't know. Hey AI, is this a good password? No, thanks. That's a good password. So what I'd really like to see is like something like an Alexa or like a what did Amazon call their thing? Whatever their Alexa Pucket was, or a HomePod, or the Google Hey Google thing, Yo Dingus. That's what you're supposed to say, so you don't set off everybody's. Hey Alexa, if you have speakers on, I hope I triggered your thing. Siri. I want something like that, but that can run LLMs in my house and, update periodically based on new models. But it's just private to me and my family, and not to everybody else. And I don't know if we'll ever see that because there's probably a lot of money in getting my data. Not my data, but data in aggregate. So I'm going to figure out what the offset is for player state. When we're at pad pressed, we're at 2EE8 in the normal G player struct. And it starts at BD0. And I can't. So that is 318 hex less. So I'm going to take this offset and I took this the other day too, and I wasn't convinced. 5-4-8-20. Yeah, and so 5-4-8-20. So hypothetically, theoretically, this is the start of player state, or like doppelganger state. So I'm gonna do that, and we'll see what happens. I'm gonna grab this address. Does she play it? Entropy Gravity Well? All right, so we have this symbol here. I'm going to before I make a code change, I'm going to compile that. I have to retouch all of the VO4 code. Oh, well, she's listening. I thought you were telling her. She's my home assistant. My wife would say, go play it yourself. I'm kidding. She doesn't like it when I say that she does mean things to me, because she's actually like the sweetest person in the world. But I like, if you knew my wife, which you don't, you would know that she's the sweetest, nicest person in the world. And so anytime I say that she does something, mean or anything like that, it's always a joke, because she obviously doesn't do things like that. I'm from my family is Wisconsin sarcastic, and that's what I grew up with, and we use sarcasm as a form of love, and just very dry. And if her being from the West, not understanding that necessarily, she thinks often that people are being very mean to her. My family is being mean to her, but that couldn't be further from the truth. We only say mean things to people we love. So this is still working. I have not known many Jamaicans, or any Jamaicans in my life. One of my roommates had a Jamaican in one of our professors. A mechanical engineering professor was Jamaican. I'm going to try this and see if this is going to work. And it does. Great. So we can replace all these GDOPs with player states now, which is really nice. When he wanted you to... so my roommate had a Jamaican professor, and this was in Wisconsin. So not many Jamaicans in Wisconsin. But he would say all kinds of things that were obviously not typical American things. And when he wanted you to write something down, he would say, "Note this!" And so that became something we said often in our apartment. Note this. Now I say that to my kids, and they don't know what I'm talking about. All right, so let's get back to matching functions. I'm happy that this player state thing worked out, because that is going to make things much easier. Basically, any time we see gplayer, we can replace it with gdop. I apologize for my bad Jamaican accent to all the Jamaicans that are following or watching on YouTube. If you want, you could thumbs down. The engagement helps. Or if you enjoyed my poor Jamaican imitation, thumbs up. And then subscribe. Or follow on Twitch. What am I looking for? Check move directions where I was. see. I missed something along the way. I think I'm caught up on chat. Yeah, so kind of going back to like my my getting. I basically use what works for me. So a lot of times I'll have an idea, and that idea is not fully baked, and so I just like to muck around and break things and see what works and see what doesn't work. And so I'll create a branch, do my mucking around, and if it's promising, I'll keep mucking and mucking and mucking until there's something that I like, and then I have to decide: do I like everything in that branch? Are there some ideas that are good? Are there some things that would be better pulled out because they make more sense in isolation and have value now as opposed to, some larger change? And then, so I need to decide how am I going to extract that stuff? And it's a mix of cherry picks and just checking out individual files or checking out a particular commit or directory tree or whatever on top of that. And then kind of manicuring this other pristine branch that I'll then push out. And I found in general that works pretty well. No issues. I'm going to go to the next one and see if that is a match as well. It is not. I found this yesterday. It said speed X. That looks like there's nothing there that is unique to DRA. So it should be fine. And then this one has been mapped already. So this is interesting. Entity room index. I'm not sure what this function is for. It's an odd one though. But it doesn't. So player is going to have to be doppelganger. But other than that, now I can't spell. I have no idea which way I spelled this. Let's see if that works. Gotta get rid of the ASM include. Get rid of the wrong thing. All right, so the next one, 3EO. Not to be confused with 3DO. Any 3DO players? I'll go back here. That's the last one in this particular segment. So I'm going to see what else may be here. Okay, so we have all the entity like mist and all that too that we can go through and figure out. Unfortunately, these are not ordered by segment, or offset. So I don't know. I guess I just know the ones that I haven't mapped yet. They are ordered by name, and because DRA has these names in place, I'm gonna skip these. I'm gonna go down to like form a mist in those ones, because I think that's a little more interesting. Those are things that we recognize. Gravity boot beam and things like that. That's kind of interesting. Let's look at this. So some really kind of basic things. These all probably should all be overlay prefixed, but we can start there. So it looks like we want to reuse these. I almost wonder if these shouldn't be included in like non PlayStation builds, because these could be linked pretty easily. Let's look, see if these are at stage entity start. Nope. So I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm going to build and then see if we can tell from the diff what might be going on. So we have 6-3 versus 3-4. And there's something different on this second line as well. Three versus 6-2. Okay. What should we do? I'm going to pull this one into decomp.me, and we'll see if there's anything obvious there. And we have the signature for this, so I'm going to use it. This seems like an odd function, though, to not... I mean, it's how we think 30 years later, but why wouldn't you share this? So I'm going to replace the contents with the code from the other. I'm pretty sure E none is 0. So there's no change. It's exactly the same. Okay. I can live with that. But then that happens. Let me undo this and just make sure there's no, oops, there's not something else going on. That's the problem. There is something else going on. Okay, so that works. Oh, I didn't replace this with doppelganger. I did, but I must have undone it by accident. There we go. Okay, so we'll go back to get free entity. And get free entity reverse should be the same. These are easy. The best code to decompile is the code that you don't have to decompile. Okay. So going back to the dupes report, we were at get free entity. So the next matching one is this 8C28. This one is going to be a little more work. There's some globals here that we're going to have to map as well. So I don't think I'm going to do that at the moment, but I am going to map. Should we map the symbol? Yeah, let's do that. And that'll make it easier to identify later. So anytime there is no, that's not what I wanted. Anytime there's one of these functions that's not func_us, we know that that came from somewhere else because it's missing that prefix. So the next one in the list is this CB8, and for Richter, it's named Hit by Holy. Let's look at the Richter version, because the Richter version is possibly has more in common than the DRA version. There are differences, though. I think I'm gonna. I wonder why this hasn't been named in DRA. Seems like it should just be player hit by Holy. I don't know. Because we have other ones as well. So Here's Richter hit by holy, then entity hit by lightning, entity or Richter hit by dark. I'm guessing all those are the same. I think I'm going to keep going and get down to some of these that are more well-defined. I'll look at the other ones later. So, rebound stone bounce 1. Grab that. And rebound stone bounce 2. The next one down on the list, we have those. Mostly want the ones that we have names for. So let's go down to here to Entity Gravity Boot Beam. The only trick really to these is making sure that all the other references get updated. And so that means pulling in the correct named assembly file, because that'll get the new name. And I'm not following my own advice. Getting ahead of myself. And every once in a while, just to make sure that I don't screw up, I will just rebuild this. Looks like I did screw up something. And that's why I check myself periodically. That looks good. And I'm just going back and forth between the dupes report. If you don't know how to find the dupes report and you want to find the dupes report, you can go to the Soten Decomp GitHub page from soten.z.dev or however you want to get there. Go to the wiki and look for duplicates. I can demonstrate since this is a visual medium. Not the Discord. You don't want to go to Discord. You do want to go to Discord, but I don't want to go there right now. So I'm going to go to the wiki. I've offended Jamaicans, so I might as well offend Canadians. I worked up in Seattle for a while and worked with a lot of Canadians who are the nicest people in the world. But they say wiki. And can't deal with it. All right, so you can look at deduplication. And this should have a link to the file, but it doesn't. Let's look at decompilation. You could check if the function is a duplicate. And look at the live list. It's living. A living list. And that's how you get to the duplicates list. All right, let's see where I ended here. We have entity player outline and wing smash trail. Let's do entity hit by, entity hit by ice. I don't know if it's possible to have like the ice brand before getting to doppelganger, but maybe it is. And entity missed. A bunch of unnamed ones, which it may be helpful to name those symbols, because when we're decompiling other things, it allows us to copy the code or reuse the code if we pull it out into a shared file. So it is useful to have those symbols align, but I'll wait to map those until it's known to be necessary. So Richter and VO4 have matching things, which I haven't looked at yet, except for when Richter overlapped with DRA. Well, let's look for boss VO4 and go to the bottom. There's a lot of duplicates here. Basically, we want everything that's a duplicate that's also false and named. But it looks like I've hit the end. Play animation we got already. Rebound stone, we just did those. So a bunch of these have been mapped already. Set animation, maybe a name. Oh, it was named after the DRA one, so that's not. Oh, sorry. Let me show you what I'm looking at. These are mapped and decompiled already. I think these are all the common ones. I don't think there's going to be much up here that doesn't have the correct name already. So I don't think there's anything more to do here at the moment. So I could go through and do the names, but this is enough work for now. I am going to rebuild that and just make sure I have all the symbol names correct. And that looks good. So I'm gonna commit all this. All right. What else can we do? So I'm gonna do something a little different. I don't have much time. I have to go run and get kids for an orthodontic appointment. What I'd like to do is change the behavior of fleaman. We'll see if we can do this relatively quickly and see what the result is. Let me turn on DuckStation and make sure that I know where I want to focus. I will start a build though. This is clean. I keep my master branch up to date with Zynomo's master, Zynomo's being the where all of the development gets merged to, and just keep those the same. I don't develop on master, always on feature branches. So let's see. That's gonna build for a while, so let me. Hopefully, Duck Station is set up correctly. It looks like it is. Been having a lot of luck lately with OBS capturing the right window. I'll just use that, and is oh, and the controller's even mapped. Amazing! What a world! What a world! So what I'd like to do is find fleaman. I think there's fleaman just below this. So we're exiting the boss. Oh, do I have the? I have the CPU debugger, and I've hit a breakpoint. Get rid of those breakpoints. And unfortunately, the right breakpoints. All right, so when we leave the boss room, we're leaving a basically another stage. It's a duplication of the stage that we're currently on. I think there's fleamen down here. So what I'd like to find is fleamen near a red door, because a red door allows me to reload the overlay. Actually, that probably was a pretty good spot. I'll come back. Nope, no fleaman. Damage boost. The other place I know of fleaman, and this is actually probably better. So this is. No, they're way after this, aren't they? Oh, I can't just walk through. Where else are fleamen? Fleamen are up. I have another breakpoint up near the top of the library. Actually, going into the library, there's fleamen. Let me load that. This is right after doppelganger. Okay. So I can get up to library. What I'd like to do is find them, change their behavior a little bit, and then just observe what those changes do. I don't have a weapon, which is nice. I might have jewel knuckle, actually. So the reason I want a red door is because overlays get reloaded. So there's no fleamen in the first room, so I'm gonna have to replay that at least. Oh, I thought there were fleamen in that. I guess not. Okay. Let's see. I have another state. Let's try this one. There are definitely fleamen over here. There is no red door. I'm gonna get through this room. Okay. And see if there's a red door at the top. I might not have the ability to jump as high as I need to, though, to get out of this area, because this is out of logic. So when you do a save state, it saves all of your RAM, all 2 megs of RAM, and basically doesn't reload what's on disk. And I needed to reload what's on disk, but unfortunately, this is out of logic for the abilities that I have now for it. Okay, so maybe going through the marble gallery is the best option. Fleaman at the top of... There's Fleaman at the top of Castle Peak, right? Let's try that. I didn't think about doing this beforehand, so unfortunately I think I'm not going to end up being able to make the change. Maybe we could do something small. The reason I like the idea of a fleaman change is because there's like such annoying iconic characters. And so seeing them, for example, jump away from you. Oh. I get them in one hit. I think would bring joy to a lot of people. Watching them scatter. Oh. I will activate that later on here. The thing I mentioned the other day that I'd like to do is replace that text with the Japanese version. So this is Castle. Oh no, there aren't fleamen here. There aren't. Crap. Okay. So I'm gonna go back down to Marble Gallery. You had a anthropomorphized skull that was about 10 times the size of a normal skull, and it's kind of translucent and floating at you. Would you fight it? I guess you're Alucard though, and you are undead and pricing a lot of crazy things in your life. So nothing new. There's a warp room. Is the warp room going to take me anywhere? It's going to take me back to entrance. I don't think there's any reason to do that. So let's go down and... with Solo Wolf, can I run through the... Marble Gallery? Oh no. Here, that's not where it would be. Nope. Worth a shot. I don't think this hall will ever not be annoying, and I know it's probably there for logistical reasons, but no bueno. Then they duplicated in Bloodstain. Basically, they did the same thing. Bad design choice here, bad design choice in Bloodstain as well. Now this is much further from a red door than I wanted. Are we near a clock room? Did I go the right way? That's where I'm trying to go. Back to the clock room. There we go. There's our jumpy little friends. Only one in that room? Alright, so now I need to get to a red door. Can I get to the red door? I didn't check to see if the way to Ulrox's quarters. Do I need double jump to get up there? I didn't see if it was open. It is. Let's do this. Now we're playing. Okay, there's a red door right here. Great. Perfect. So I'm going to leave. Get this side loaded. And now, what time is it? Too late to do anything interesting. That's what time it is. We're going to open Fleaman. And update facing direction. So here, I just want to do something super simple, which is change the facing direction from facing the player to not facing the player, which is just getting rid of this XOR. Easy. We could change the type of explosion, which could be interesting. Let's look at that and see what our options there are. I thought there was like a large explosion as well. So we do have a variance spawn. Oh, there are already are variants to this. And where was this? So the first arg is, or second arg is basically what what sound are we going to play? The second is the params for the type of explosion. So let's look at what types are being used. Oh, so we can pass in the. So we'll do thunder explode for our sound effect. Sounds nice. And oops, here. And then I want to know what the other parameter is. We have 0 or 1. Diplocephalus is quite the explosion, so I'm going to assume 0 is a bigger explosion, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And so everywhere facing left is set. Basically, I'm going to change that. I want this to happen closer to the player. I want him to get close, but not hit. So our index here, I'm not sure what that is yet. Index, fidget velocity. Okay, that's interesting. So it would be nice to increase that, but I'm not sure yet what to do about that. I'm going to invert the direction that's being faced, and the calculation for where this is happening is already dependent on what direction it's facing. I'm gonna multiply the fidget velocity by like 4. Very fidgety. So let's try that. So this is in the marble gallery. You can go to soten.fun. One of the things that soten.fun is a wiki about the stages. Not much there, just a list of the stages. Marble gallery is NOO. So basically I want to touch things in NOO, specifically fleaman. I'll just touch that. Now I'm going to make, and it'll build, but our build fails obviously because I'm not building anything that is matching this. Just my custom build. So now I need to go through and find my copy this over to my streaming computer. So I'm copying that over. Only at 80 megs a second. That's slow. Copying the Q file over. Updating the Q file to point to the right bin. And now in DocStation, I'm going to change disk from file and choose my new rando disk. And so when we go back into the clock room or marble gallery, NOO will be different, and we should see different behavior from the fleaman. It'll be interesting to see what effect that had. I don't have a good development loop right now for modding, so this is not sort of this takes a little longer than I think it would normally take if I had a better way of doing this. But bear with me. All right, so the disk is changed, and I'm just going to verify. DocStation has a CD-ROM state debug tool, and you can see which one is loaded. We're still playing. I should have turned on this music, the background music, and let me pause that. Turn up DocStation. There you go. Just want to make sure music is still happening, sounds are still happening. So we're going to go back in. Now we have our modded fleaman behavior. And we'll see what the fleamen do. A little too fidgety. He fidgeted right off the screen. Well, that certainly is something. Oh, he respawned. Oh, yep, he's going away. So, oh, that's actually really nice. So, if he's facing me, he is going to turn around. Oh, that guy's gone. But scare you, fleaman. Oh, that time the calculation was low enough that he hit the ceiling. And so that's what's happening is because I increased that so much, when he does his high jump, he's going past the calculation for where he is beyond the bounds of the ceiling, so he doesn't collide. All right, so that's something. Fleamen that run away from you. I'll clean that up a little bit, and it would actually be kind of nice if they jumped over you to get away, but they don't like you. They don't want to be near you. And they will jump out of the game to make sure that happens. Anyway, that's all I have for you. You've been watching Made Up of Wires. If you want to know more about the Soten decompilation project, go to soten.z.dev, where you can learn more. I'm here Monday through Thursday. Next week, tomorrow's Fiber Day, national holiday, when Made Up of Wires gets fiber installed. So next week, maybe we'll go back to 60 frames a second, because who can really edit code at 30 frames a second? I mean, these days, minimal 120, but that's all I have. See you next week. Adios.
You're not my mother!